of it in old New York.
Welcome to the Season 1 finale of New Musical Monday, a series hosted by Thornhill Theatre Space, showcasing material from new and lesser-known musicals from around the world. Our showcase this week is from the musical Gay Card, and I had the opportunity to sit down with the creators to discuss their musical, the process, and their inspiration. Ryan and Jonathan, thank you so much for sitting down with me today to discuss your musical Gay Card.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely, thank you so much.
Yeah, great. I'm excited to, dig a little deeper into what the story is and your inspiration behind it. So I'm very excited to chat with you guys today. So let's go ahead and I'd like to just first start out, with a little bit about each of your theater backgrounds. Where have you been to get yourself where you're at today? And let's go ahead and start with Ryan on that one.
Sure. I started writing musicals on the early side. I was, 12 or 13. They weren't good, but I was writing them. And I decided that I wanted to go to college for music composition. And I went to Vanderbilt University for that in Nashville. And right after that, moved on to the graduate musical theater writing program at NYU, which is where I met Jonathan. And we've been writing musicals together ever since then. And it's been sort of a wild ride. We've worked on a few projects together and separately as well with other people. And I've worked on some Broadway projects. And now I'm living in Chicago and Jonathan's still in New York. So we're collaborating remotely as everyone is these days.
Absolutely. I mean, it just seems to be what everyone's doing. But at the same time, we're fortunate enough that that's just kind of how the industry is. So even if someone does have to move away or stay, secluded, you're still able to do it. So that's kind of the great part about it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, Jonathan, go ahead and let us know about your background.
Yeah, I started young as well. I got into performance at first when I was 6 years old. So I feel like I grew up in the theater. Did community children's theater, and then went to a middle school of the arts and a high school of the arts. So I just couldn't escape it. Thought I was going to be an actor, went to undergrad for acting, but then while I was in undergrad, a friend of mine from high school, we connected and we decided that we wanted to try our hand at writing a musical and over the summer because we were both bored. And then I had a really supportive undergrad. I went to Rollins College, and they basically let me take this hobby that I had done and actually put the show up in my senior year and let me direct it. And I caught the bug. And a year later, I applied to the graduate musical theater writing program and met Ryan. And we've started working together and met all the other people who I also collaborate with. And it's as Ryan said, it's been a wild ride from there. But I couldn't have imagined, 10 years ago that this would have been my life where it ended up now.
Right. Absolutely. Now we're here today to go ahead and talk about the musical you worked on together called Gay Card. Could you kind of give us and our viewers a little bit more of an idea of what the story is? What does Gay Card tell us?
Sure. Gay Card is a coming of age musical about sort of finding your place in the world and finding where you belong. It follows a young gay guy named Logan Kapler in his freshman year of college. He wasn't out in high school. He was a bit of a loser, but he's convinced that now that he's out and he's going to college, his whole life is going to be different because of his new identity. And he gets to college And his classmates deem him not awesome enough to be gay, and they revoke his gay card, and he feels more alone than ever. So he goes on a quest to reclaim his gay card by figuring out where he belongs in the gay community, and along the way, he learns some life lessons about belonging and about identity and about what it means to feel secure in your own skin and support other people in their journey.
Great, great. Yeah, so it's always quite good to kind of understand with this series where we're listening to clips of the songs and not necessarily much dialogue and everything. So it's really quite good to get an idea of what the story is that goes around these songs. So thank you, Jonathan, for letting us know that. Now, we heard a little bit into what the story tells and things like that. But what kind of was the inspiration? What triggered that light bulb in your head that said, I need to write this story?
Well, the initial seed of the idea really came from Jonathan, but it's something that we've both had similar experiences growing up as gay men who don't necessarily fit the stereotypical mold, trying to figure out your place in this strange new world that you're figuring out that not everyone has access to. And and Jonathan brought this idea to me. We were sitting at a diner, I think, in New York somewhere. And he had the title already. Like, it's called, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, we were sitting at a diner and we were desperate. So for NYU, we had to come up with a thesis show. And we had the entire summer, basically, to come up with this show. And we were working on a project for like huge part of the summer. We were hammering away. We were sitting in a diner trying to hammer out this show, and it just wasn't working. And I was like, what if we just dropped everything and did a different thing? And I pitched the show to you, Ryan.
Yes, along with the title, Gay Card, with the whole idea around this guy who has his gay card revoked because he's not gay enough or not cool enough to be gay. And I was just like, that's the show. That's like, it was so exciting. There was just this spark of ideas, like all these things we could do with that. And that's how you know that you're working on the right project, I think.
Right. Absolutely. No, I agree with that 100%. When it kind of, you have that aha moment, it's just like, this is right, let's do it, let's go for it. And then even to go back and kind of touch on the whole idea of, growing up and how we all grew up, and I'm sure my growing up is quite similar to both of yours and things like that. But it also jumps onto that same idea that it's great to continue to see these stories that most kids don't get to see. It is getting better. There are quite a bit more of those stories out there nowadays, but that doesn't mean they need to stop coming. You know what I mean? So it's still great to kind of see these, and you're looking at it a different way. You're like, okay, gay is cool, but you're not cool enough. So we're taking this away from you. You need to earn the right, which is a different idea of the story of coming out and growing up like the way that we did. Which
Absolutely.
I think
well, that was something that we wanted to be careful of, is that especially when we were writing this, it was 2013 when we started. It was already starting to get better in the media, but there were a lot of coming out stories, not a lot of what happens after you come out. Like, the coming out was the end point, but that isn't really how life works. And so, yeah, we wanted to take this, it's sort of a familiar starting point, but then go further with it.
Yeah, I think we both, we both grew up in the 90s and the early 2000s on, lots of teen rom-coms, and the there's a certain kind of coming of age film that I think Ryan and I both, really latched onto as kids, that I think, we were essentially trying to sort of recreate this thing we love from our childhood, but with characters that we didn't get to see as kids, so and I think that that's a huge part of like anything that either of us write, is it's all about telling stories that we wish someone had told to us, but we didn't get. And so and you're right, it's like, it's great that we're seeing more and more of that, but it's it's incredible that just over the almost the almost 10 years that we've been writing together, how much the storytelling for the LGBTQ community has changed. It's just so heartening, and it's great to contribute to that in whatever small way we can.
No, absolutely. And here's the thing, I don't think that what you're writing is a story that people won't be able to relate to either. Because I substitute taught at my high school 3 years ago, right? And I kind of started to notice that the gay kids are the cool kids now. And it's a complete role reversal from when I was in high school, and I'm walking down the same halls and I'm seeing the gay kids, and they're like kind of almost worshipped by a good majority of the kids now. And I'm like, this is different. So it's not a story, the story you're telling is not something that people won't be able to relate to, because that's kind of where we are now. You know what I mean? That's kind of where we've come to. So I think it's really great to see that. Now I'm dying to kind of get from you guys what people have been able to see of it so far. Where has it been staged? Where has, people read the script? What's kind of the production history of it so far?
We started initially, so the NYU grad program that we were in is a 2-year program. And the first year this is how I like to describe it, is you kind of speed date all of your classmates to try to find the right collaborator. And then in the second year, you marry that collaborator and you work on a 90-minute version of your show as a thesis project, among many other things that you're doing at the same time. And so Jonathan and I did that together. So that second year is when we wrote the first 90-minute draft of Gay Card. But we always knew we wanted it to be a full 2-act show. And we were really lucky. Right after graduating, this was 2014, later that summer, we got an opportunity to workshop the show through something called Agile Formations. And what they did was they let us put together a cast of non-equity actors, and we presented we were able to spend the summer expanding the show, and then we presented it, and then we had another week to make changes and then present it again, which was really, really useful. And so we got a lot done that summer. And then but I think we still did a little tweaking after that, especially with one of our characters, Melanie. It took us a little bit to figure her out. And then I think about a year later, Jonathan?
Yeah, it was about a year later. The impetus to sort of get it locked down was we had an opportunity to do a student production at the College of Charleston. So that kind of gave us the impetus to get our next version of the show sort of locked down, and we worked with a great student director over there who made a Herculean feat of making the show happen. It was probably like one of the biggest things that like student group had ever attempted to do. So we've met a lot of it's kind of been crazy. We've met a lot of people along the way with this show who have taken it on as such a passion project and sort of by hook or by crook have made things happen with it. We couldn't be more grateful for those people. So
it's happening right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, we'll get to that. But at so College of Charleston happened and the student production happened, and it ran for 2 weeks-ish, I think. And we had kind of gone into that production going, okay, let's go watch the show again and see what's not working now and make some further changes from there. And we watched that production, and there were like a few very, very small things, but we were honestly like, we kind of feel like the show is in a really good place now. So after the College of Charleston, we were basically like,
I should say that that was kind of the true test, is these are college students playing college student characters, like for an audience of college students. And that was sort of like really magical to watch for the first time.
And so from there, we sort of decided that the show was in a place that we wanted to be able to share it with kind of a much wider audience. And we'd also like had it for a few years at that point. So we decided to do a Kickstarter at that point to raise money to do a studio cast album of the show. So I don't know, Ryan, if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Talk about Herculean efforts. That project from start to finish took us about a year, maybe a little bit less, in terms of getting things orchestrated, which one of our friends from the NYU program did for us, Andrew Siddle, and getting just all of these instrumental tracks built and recorded by really awesome musicians ahead of time before going into the studio with actors, with these like essentially backing tracks created, trying to do it like as cheaply as we could while raising money on Kickstarter. And we raised about $16,000, which was really great. And we needed all of it. Because we had, three musicians playing for a band of 5 and 10 actors and engineers, and then we had, all the mixing and mastering on the back end. And I want to say, we started in August, maybe a little before with planning, and ended in May, I think was when we released it. And it's been really great.
It has, and that album has sort of now given the show a kind of life of its own outside of us. We still keep trying to get things to happen with the show, but honestly, I say it's much less us, and it's just much more the album doing its work out in the world that has sort of led to future things happening. That led to a production at the North Raleigh Arts and Creative Theater. I think you got that right. It's a long Interact. A few, 2 years ago, I think. Pandemic time messes with my brain. And now culminating in this latest thing happening in Brazil.
And also simultaneously at University of Illinois in Champaign, Urbana-Champaign, they're doing, actually really it's one student who really took it on as a passion project, I think for a thesis project now of some kind. And they've worked really hard around all the COVID guidelines and everything. And I think they're
doing like a hybrid like Zoom concert / film of the show there. So that's gonna, we have very little involvement, but we're very excited to see what the end result is gonna be.
Yes.
I suppose that's the fun of it at this point. You've had a couple different chances to work on it, to see it done, do your edits, do your things that didn't quite work, and then now it's just kind of out in the world for you guys to kind of hear what's happening with it and seeing what great productions of it are being done. Now I wanted to, the album that you said that you guys released, what was the year that you guys had done that album? What was that?
Well, that was 2017 when we released it.
Because what I've noticed doing this series since the pandemic, a lot of people are doing that already. That's like kind of they get their, their idea, they have the music, they have the script, they have everything. And then the first thing they're doing is jumping in and getting these recordings done because it's the easiest thing to do when everybody's stuck at home.
True.
Yeah.
So you guys were kind of the before that, where you guys did a few steps and were like, okay, this is what we need to do next. But now that's kind of almost the first step that people are doing because it's the easiest thing to do.
Well, I'll fully admit that, like, when we were in grad school, I mean, it's a shifting attitude in theater, right? In theater development, because when we were in grad school, I remember getting warned so many times, like, don't record and release things too early because, like, once it's out there in the world, it's out there. And I think it's interesting what the whole industry is going through, because I think there's a macro transition from everything being sort of in very secret corners with gatekeepers controlling very carefully when things get released into the world, to the age of YouTube and the internet and just stuff being able to get out there. And I think, for people of our generation and younger, it's just not weird. It's like, we understand that there's not that judgment. You don't have to worry about it so much. It's more of a blessing than a curse.
Well, it was there was a show that I worked on a couple weeks ago, and their album on Spotify had like 4 tracks. So clearly they're not, like, some of these people aren't completely done with it. They're just recording what they have to kind of get the idea out there, get it out into the sphere so that people kind of know what's happening. And then maybe as theaters start up, let's jump on that train and help develop that. So I think it's a really smart idea. I think it's a really great thing that people are doing. And for you guys, I mean, you had it done. So that was, that was easy for you guys. So yeah, Ryan, Jonathan, thank you so much for sitting down with me today to learn a little bit more about your musical Gay Card. I really appreciate it. It was good to kind of get an insight into how it came to be. And now let's go ahead. We've got a few selections from Gay Card that we're going to let our viewers have a listen to. So again, thank you guys so much. And our viewers, please enjoy selections from Gay Card.
What does it matter if they took your gay card away? It doesn't define you.
All throughout high school, I sat in my bedroom, wishing to be someone else.
Okay.
Staring at Facebook and scrolling through pictures and wishing to be someone else. But this was my chance here, the thing that would change things and save me from who I was then. Yet here I am sitting and staring at Facebook and wishing to be someone else again. Here's a picture of a person that we knew from our hometown. It's his first night at a new school, and a whole lot's going down. He tries a shot of Smirnoff, strikes a pose, then someone chats his ear up, and no one knows. Back in high school, he was nothing. Now a new life's come along, and the way he's smiling shows what it feels like to belong. Every picture that I look at is a story much like his. People finding new beginnings, undeterred by how life is. One's posing like a model, so carefree. One's playing spin the bottle, why not me? They all fit in, what's their secret? Tell me, where have I gone wrong? Will I ever get to see what it feels like to belong? This is the guy who's gone his whole life, always feeling pushed off to the side. This is the guy who'd give all he's got to finally feel he can join in the ride. I want love, I want friends, and a story that ends with me bidding my old self goodbye and changing the kind of guy I am to a person in a picture with the whole crowd by his side. We are laughing, we are dancing, and the world has opened wide. And without any warning, feeling sore, I'm staying out till morning. And what's more, I am happy, I am wanted, I am handsome, bold and strong. No more clawing at life's heels, I am living in ideals, and my smiling face reveals what it feels like to belong.
Listen. Getting your gay card means sex. Getting your gay card means you belong.
Subscribe to me and you'll get it.
How is this supposed to help me?
I'll give you a chance to read it over.
Gay card blog post number 1. I am your fairy blog father.
You're failing at being gay. Oh, well.
You wanna go hide away. Whoa.
You say, well, what can I do? That's the way things are. But listen, I'm telling you, I can get you back on par. I'll spell it out for you.
Click that button and follow me.
Every hottie's gonna crawl at your feet. I'm your lion, your past, your key. You'll be someone they wanna meet when you're following me.
It's daunting, oh hell, I know.
Yeah.
Your fears are all apropos.
Yeah.
Most people would have no shot.
I have no shot.
They'd be right to flee.
I should flee.
But most people, my friend, you're not.
I'm not.
'Cause buddy, you got me. So I reiterate, click that button and follow me. You'll book every night from here until May. There's no charge and no ads, I'm free.
Life's a game you get to play
When you're following me, I'll break it down now. There are many types of gay boys, and I say, boy, find a type you fit.
an airy twink.
Kinky bear.
I pinky swear it's out
I'll
there.
advise you, I'll wise you up.
An otter that's hotter, perhaps a gay bro that's way mo bro than the straight bro.
I say, oh.
There's a million different scenes for you to do, and among them you will find a gay card right for you.
For me,
So click that button and follow me.
I'd finally find a way to belong.
Oh, don't debate it, just click agree.
I mean, really, I can't go wrong. When you follow it, I follow. When you follow,
When you follow,
I follow you. I follow you.
when you're following me.
You think it's all that simple. You think that you're enough. You think that you're such hot stuff. that you will be immortal. You think you're up to par. This ain't no small town gay bar. This is Portal, the hottest gay club in Central Florida. Look, you're all freshmen, hormones racing deep inside you. But clubs are crazy, so you better let me guide you. You need a driver, parking's a $5. Bags should be small. Have phones you can cling to, iPods to sing to, but most of all, you will need your fake ID. Memorize this brand new you, and I promise you will see life is great for people who have a fake ID.
Get out there and dance! Get your groove on, so to speak.
Texting my competition.
Taking notes. People watching at clubs is priceless.
Can I buy you a drink?
No.
Guys who don't give a fuck are hot.
Guys who don't give a fuck are also not interested in you.
I don't think dancing's my thing.
Okay, come here.
What are you doing?
Demonstrating. You've gotta break out. Gotta shake it like you got one.
Put out an image, and it better be a hot one.
Dance to the groove right.
Get every move right.
Guys, get in sync. If your persona drinks a Corona, that's what you drink. Don't you lose your fake ID. Keep up with this brand new you. Trust me, honey, life can be better than you ever knew with your fake ID.
Looks like the geek has a little freak in her.
You're sure making an impression.
Don't get distracted. Eye on the goal. Go!
The straight boys found another target.
I call this move the Kapler.
That's embarrassing.
You've been staring at him for almost an hour.
He's a fascinating subject.
You want to come home with me?
You want herpes?
That's the 5th guy who's hit on Graham tonight.
Why are you counting?
I need some air.
I love a pizza. Don't let the heat stop. Keep up the fun. Keep the lights blinding. Keep us all grinding. We're never done. Don't you love a fake ID? Living like a brand new you. You're the guy you wanna be. And who cares if it's not true?
Hey,
Hey,
strike out again, straight boy?
straight boy. That's me, right? Meanwhile, you turned down every guy in there. You have a boyfriend back home or something?
Boyfriend? No, I don't hook up. I'm just an object to them.
Be grateful you're something to them.
Doesn't matter what I think. Or anyone else. You just gotta be yourself. Look at me. Do I look unhappy? No. And I will tell you why. I am who I am, and don't give a damn if they hate that kind of guy. Look at me. Do I fit some model? No, that never works out well. When you try to please, all that guarantees is that your life is hell. It seems perfect at first glance, a life you wanna hook. But if you could break the trance and really take a could see there's options, there's more than fitting in. I'm no perfect gay, but I sure can say that I'm happy in my skin. 'Cause at least I know the guy I see when I look at me.
Sounds to me like you're just afraid.
Please. If I wanted one of those guys, I could totally get him.
Big talk.
Hey, you want to take me back to your place?
Sure.
Guess you're driving everyone home. Now, do you think it's a good idea to be a poser?
I'll show you who's a poser.
I am a geek type.
Fling of the week type.
Me, I'm a star.
We all display it.
And if we say it,
That's who we are. Don't give up your fake ID. Don't let people steal your fun. 'Cause what you will come to see is that deep down everyone
has a fake ID.
I could totally be a go-go boy. Everyone's staring. We should totally make out. No, I'm serious. I'm a great kisser, I swear. Look, I'll show you.
your fake ID.
Oh no, he didn't.
Thank you so much for joining us for our season finale showcase of Gay Card. Our new Musical Monday series can be found on Facebook, YouTube, IGTV, and a podcast version on Spotify. Keep an eye on our social media pages for news and announcements about our next season of New Musical Monday. Thank you so much for joining us this season, and I hope you'll join us for the next. Take care.
God sweat